Hi, guys. Danielle here. First and foremost, I just want to say thank you to everybody's kind words, all the love and support that I have been receiving. I was very scared and intimidated to put my story out there because, it's scary. This was the first time I publicly put my story out there. And even to some of my family members, they got little bits and pieces of everything. So to have to hear it in detail, like it was hard for them to hear it. It was kind of their first time hearing it, I guess you could say. Even my husband, we've been together for 5.5 years, going on 6 years, and that was the first time he heard the story in detail. Um, but again, all the love and support is so appreciated. So I do have a lot of questions, and I'm going to try to get to as many as I can right now. And my main question that was asked to me was, was there any permanent damage? And yes, there was permanent damage. So as I stated in my testimony, he choked me. So the doctor had said if he had held onto my neck any longer, one, I could have died, or two, he could have permanently damaged my trachea. I was on a liquid diet for about a month and a half to 2 months. I couldn't drink nothing. Like, it burned to drink something. It hurt to drink anything or try to eat anything. At one point, I could only eat ice cream because that was the only thing soothing my throat, or drink milk. You know what I mean? That, like, just to coat my stomach, to put something in it. Um, and then I have a like permanent like like constant feeling to want to clear my throat. Sometimes my voice gets real crackly, and I've asked the doctor, like, is there something that I could do to help that? And there's nothing I could do to help it. I have like permanent scars, permanent bruises. Like, they look like bruises, but they're scars. um, Again, he punched me so hard in the side of my face that like my hearing is now cloudy. I don't really have very good hearing in the right side. Sometimes my husband gets a little frustrated with me, and it's like, because he'll tell me something and I'll be like, huh? Huh? Speak louder because I can't hear you, And he knew it was from the situation, but like I said, he never knew the details of it. So now that he does, now he understands a little bit more. I'm not just lashing out just to be mean. My PTSD comes out a lot sometimes, and like, he doesn't even have to do anything sometimes to trigger me, and that's just how it goes. And I thank him for being patient with me. Another question was, how did my brothers react, because I had stated I came from a big family. So I came from a big family, but I only have like two siblings that I really fuck with on a true basis. All my other brothers and sisters, my brother that was like, you're not gonna like boys or anything like that. He like took he says he took my head out the clouds and put him in the streets. You know what I mean? He turned me on to gang life, and just, that's why I was never interested in boys. Like, I was, that's another question, was if I was a lesbian, if my husband was a transgender. No. My husband is not a transgender. He is a real man. I was not gay. I was not a lesbian. I just didn't have an interest in boys like that, or in men. Like, I was just, like I said in part of my story was, we were at a party, and some girls were like, oh my god, he's the finest man in the world. And like, when he walked in, of course I was like, oh yeah, he's pretty fine. But bitch, let's take this shot. I was always like, a go-getter. I was always about my money. I never cared about guys. I just wanted to make money. I still do. uh So, like, oh, man, I kind of lost my train of thought right there. But, yeah, I grew up differently. So I was not a boy crazy type of girl. And, you know, my brothers weren't, my dad was more protective of me than my brothers were. Um, but, like, growing up, it was different. But when all that happened, my brothers weren't really concerned, I guess you can say. Just my one brother that picked me up, who is my rock. Like, you guys have no idea. I love him so much and appreciate him so much. He does so much for me. Since my dad died, because my dad died 6 months after the whole situation happened. Like, well, no, he got sick 6 months later and then died a few months later after his diagnosis. But that's a whole other part that we'll probably have to get to. Um, of course, my parents were. Ugh, my mom was my biggest, like, come on, Mija, get out of bed. Come on, come have breakfast, because I didn't want to eat. I had lost so much weight, especially because, like, I couldn't eat and I wanted to eat, but I couldn't eat. I was getting so upset and so frustrated. Like, she was my rock at that moment to try and comfort me. And my dad was always, you know, like, come on, Mija, just try, keep going, you know, you're okay. And then my partner, my freaking ride or die, bro. She was my ride or die. She still is, but, you know, she's just got her own life going on. I got mine. We talk occasionally still, you know, but, like, life just be lifing. Ain't no, like, we still have mad love for each other, but, like, this bitch, she would come every day in the morning and have coffee with us. She would come on her lunch break. Like, she had a whole husband. But, like, she would come on her lunch break. She would come smoke with me. She would slowly pull me out of my house. And then, like, eventually she got me to leave my house, like, a couple times and go to her house and kick it at her house. You know what I mean? So, like, but she made sure to pick me up, take me straight to her house, and bring me straight back to my house. Like, there was no fucking around. She did not play about me. And she still doesn't. And I love her so much for that, because, like, her and my mom and my dad were, like, the main ones that were keeping me sane while I was still in Cruces. And then when I got back out here, like I mentioned, I was scared of men. In fact, I was scared of men that had tattoos for a minute, because he was full of tattoos, like, covered in them. And I just I had to get used to the fact that he was no longer here after he died. And I think that was probably the hardest part of healing, was remembering that he was gone and always looking over my shoulder. You know what I mean? And then when I met my husband, thankfully he had no tattoos on his body. And we, like I said, we've been rocking ever since. So, you know, I'm thankful that I was able to find the courage to tell my story to you guys. I'm thankful that Crystal gave me the opportunity to do that. Um, I know that there's probably a lot of questions that I didn't answer. I've never done this before, so I really don't know what I'm doing. But um, ask me, I'll answer. You can find my IG. I'll link my IG to this video for you guys. If you're on my TikTok, it's in my bio. If you've already found my IG, go ahead, add me, ask me questions. You know, I'm an open book. If you are a survivor or a victim trying to get out of a situation, you know, and you just want to talk and vent, I'm here. I will listen. You know, I want to be able to give other women the courage to do what I did, and that is to save my life. I'm not talking about the situation that happened. I'm talking about after. Because not only did I fight for my life that night, but I have been fighting for my life ever since, because I'm trying to get my life back on track. So please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Love, peace,